Due to popular demand in comments, today I'm making a predator mask, apparently. For this build, I used these standard shop tools: EVA craft foam, EVA floor mat foam, hot glue or contact cement, wooden snakes, a visor or snow goggles, paint, plastidip, sanding materials, and safety gear. Alright, the wooden snakes are going to be the Predator's dreadlocks, so first I had to harvest them from previous steampunk mollusk projects, because there are more than one. I have the weirdest life. Not the craziest, just the weirdest. It's like robot calamari. Then I masked portions of the metallic bands that I wanted to keep using painter's tape, set them up in a special drying rack, and hit them with black spray paint. When they dried, I removed the tape from the long ones and painted metallic bands onto the short ones. There were some mistakes in a few of the dreads, so I had to go through another round of paint with those. While those dried, I traced a circle from this Easter egg hack, cut it out with a box cutter, which I had to continually sharpen, by the way.
Oh, look at that. So beautiful.
Then heated it up with my heat gun.
So, if you're going to heat up your foam like this, you should definitely bear in mind what's directly above you, like these freaking cardboard boxes, Jake, you dummy.
After heating, press it into the bowl. This process is known as dishing. You want to hold it in there until it cools so that it will retain that shape. In fact, you might as well just leave it in there until the very last moment when you need to attach it to something else. When it cools, pop it out. It will reform a bit because, honestly, this is like pushing the limit of the diameter of foam circle that you can dish, but it doesn't even really need to be a full semicircle anyway. Next, draw this samurai-esque horn shape. Admittedly, this would work a lot better if I had drawn that circle a bit further away from the corner of the foam mat, but now that I've made that mistake, you guys can avoid it. I cut it out with scissors, attempting to make it more symmetrical. I heated up the middle bit, but just the middle bit. Then I attached it with contact cement. Now, contact cement is the more professional glue to use with EVA foam crafting, but it's toxic and it takes a few days to air out completely. So if you're doing this the day before Halloween, just use hot glue. That's what I'll be switching to in just a moment, because each seam takes about 15 minutes to be ready to connect with contact cement, and there is only enough budget to cover one day of work for this video. On that note, I just want to take a quick moment to thank all the patrons without whom this video would not be possible at all. Videos like this I'd normally have to steer away from because, you know, it's a violent monster from a violent movie, so it might be deemed advertiser unfriendly. But with the money from Patreon, even just to fund it as a one-day build, that's an enormous contribution. So once again, thank you from the bottom of the soulless void where my heart should be. All right, let's get back to the build. The faceplate is supposed to conform to the Predator's mandible fingers. Don't know how else to describe them. So to simulate that, I'm going to make the understructure out of very hard-edged scrap foam.
All that is a skeleton, really.
Right just then, I noticed the spoiler in the background and realized that it had to be finished before the mandible guard if this was truly going to be a one-day build. So I set aside the face mask and began sanding. I'm basically just changing the angle of the edge by 45 degrees so that it angles inward a bit instead of outward. Then I glued this strip of craft foam to the outside, trimmed the top, and folded the rest underneath the bottom.
So now we've got this kind of hat brim looking thing, and it looks pretty good from these angles, but if you flip it over, the folds... I mean, you know, it's going to look terrible from the back anyway. People aren't supposed to look at it from the back. But from the side, you can still kind of see those folds. And you can fix that just by trimming them off. I'm not going to do that because I'm not left-handed. But I want to leave them there for now because the Predator has gadgets on either side of his helmet. And the one on this side plugs into an alcove that kind of fits that shape. So I'm going to work on the actual mask part of it before I modify this and create more work for myself later.
Okay, while that cools, I'm going to work on the faceplate again. Now with the Predator, you don't necessarily need to get the faceplate perfectly accurate because throughout the franchise, you know, it's revealed that the Predator is a whole species and each one has a slightly unique mask. So minor variations would be expected.
Those are actually just going to be definition because when you stretch this over it, it'll create this sort of skin effect.
I glued on the craft foam. Well, if only the actual build process happened that fast. The seams on the spoiler are cool now, so I coated it in plastidip. This is to even out the base coat. I attached the spoiler to the mask and added the target lock emitter, the laser point, the little triangular laser pointer. Since the rest of the mask is covered in black foam, I'm going to be able to save on plastidip and just do a poor man's seal, which is where you do a quick pass over it with the heat gun to seal it up. Then I hit it with dull aluminum spray paint. After that had dried, I attached the snakes and the visor. I'm using this no-face dome, but a ski goggle mask will work fine. The snakes were attached by cutting holes in a strip of foam and gluing that strip to the interior of the mask. And that's it. Now you're ready to go to other planets and hunt sentient species. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. This video was a viewer request from the previous video. Also in comments, we had who would win in a fight, the Predator or Incredibles? Oh my god!
I would.
If you enjoyed this video, then you can subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to get notified when I upload. You know, if YouTube decides to notify you. If you want more information about this video, because I know sometimes it's hard to understand me, there's more details in the description down below, including a link to Patreon, the Etsy store, all the social medias, similar builds, so you can sort of get a feel for this whole EVA foam crafting thing, the specific tools and materials that I use. All right, thanks for watching. Jake out! Oh, by the way, I am working on the Phase 2 helmet. Editing takes way longer than the actual build process.
Is that gonna be a problem? Dog is not scared of Predator at all.
This is the emotional support actress because every time we film something, the dog gets super nervous. See, that's like a comic book action pose that he's doing right now. It's like the river versus the zombies pose.
The dance fighting.
Yeah.